Hello, I'm Anne Bartlett, a Blue Badge tour guide. Welcome back to Cheltenham. Isn't this a gorgeous view? Looking across an ornamental lake towards one of Cheltenham's gems of Regency architecture. This is part of the extensive Pittville estate created in the 19th century by Joseph Pitt, a self-made man who had an ambitious plan to build a spa town to rival Cheltenham's. Was it a success? Well, we'll find out a little later on, because I'm going to start in Imperial Gardens in the centre of Cheltenham and bring you on a journey out towards this magnificent building. Here's my starting point, the statue of composer Gustav Holst, who's one of Cheltenham's most famous sons. Holst was born in a Victorian terraced house in Pittville, and we'll see his birthplace a little later. It's open to the public and well worth a visit. Here you see the sculptor has Holst with his arms raised as though he was conducting an orchestra, which is very appropriate because the stone building that he's facing is our town hall, which was built for all the balls and concerts that took place in the town. And there it is, partially hidden behind the marquees. This is the front of the building, and it was here that the people of Cheltenham celebrated Holst's rise to fame. In March 1927, they hosted a Holst Festival, and Gustav was invited to conduct 2 performances of his most famous composition, the Planet Suite, played by the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra. The people of Cheltenham were proudly honouring him in the best way possible during his lifetime. Holst was deeply touched, calling it the most overwhelming event of his life. Holst, a modest man, said that he was grateful for 3 things in his life, and that was music, friendship, and the Cotswold Hills. We're in Regent Street. Notice the bridge which links Cavendish House on the left to the first floor of the Regent Arcade. Along here you'll find a variety of cafes and restaurants serving a wide choice of delicious food. And here's the entrance to the Regent Shopping Arcade, which connects with the High Street. A little further along Regent Street is our very popular Everyman Theatre. The interior was designed by the great Victorian theatre architect Frank Matcham. It's the oldest example of his work, still in use as a theatre, and is therefore of historic significance. If you get the opportunity to book a show or a behind-the-scenes tour, you'll see that the auditorium is beautifully ornate, with curved balconies, rococo plasterwork, with oval painted panels, complete with scrolls, swags and seashells. We're in the High Street, and here is another entrance to the Regent Arcade. Originally, the building was a coaching inn called the Plough. When the Plough Inn closed, the inn yard became the Regent Garage, and it's where, I'm proud to say, a world-changing event took place. It was where the genius Frank Whittle came during the Second World War to assemble his pioneering jet engine for aircraft being designed and built by the Gloucester Aircraft Company at an airfield in Hucklecote. To find out more about Britain's first jet engine, do make a visit to the Jet Age Museum, which is at Staverton, between here and Gloucester. There's lots of individual shops along the arcade, and a special attraction is a 45-foot clock designed by Kit Williams, a local artist, illustrator and author, and it's thought to be the tallest mechanical clock in the world. About 10 minutes walk away from the High Street, we come to the Holst Birthplace Museum, where Gustav Holst was born in 1874 to a very musical family. The ground floor rooms display information about what is known of Gustav Holst's life, and includes family possessions, as well as Gustav's piano on which he composed the planets. Upstairs is a sitting room designed in the Regency style, with Holst family paintings hanging on the wall, and there's also the bedroom where it was thought that Holst was born. In the basement is a working Victorian kitchen. Below the museum sign is a wooden board with an arrow pointing out Section 3 of the Gustav Holst Way, a 7-mile historic walking route via Pittville Park to Wick Risington Church in the Cotswolds. This was the church where Gustav, aged 17, went each weekend to rehearse the choir and play the organ, receiving a salary of £4 per year. This is the gated horse-drawn carriage entrance to the Pittville estate, and here's the man, Joseph Pitt, whose dream it was to build a spa town of about 500 to 600 houses around landscape pleasure gardens, complete with walks and rides to rival Cheltenham's Regency Spa, and call it Pittville after himself. Was it successful? Well, partially. His estate was begun in 1820, when the building boom in Cheltenham was at its height. It was the same year that the Prince Regent became King George IV, following the death of his father George III, who had suffered 9 years of insanity. The vogue for the aristocracy and landed gentry to visit fashionable spas, to dress up in their finest clothes and promenade, attend public breakfasts, elegant evening balls, lavish parties and concerts, enjoy the excitement of the gambling tables, and drink the therapeutic spa waters was still popular. In 1833, a Catherine Sinclair visited Cheltenham and wrote in her diary, "On Tuesday morning we drove in a horsefly to visit Pittville in the suburbs of Cheltenham, a scene of gorgeous magnificence. Here a large estate has been divided into public gardens and sprinkled with houses of every size, shape and character. Grecian temples, Italian villas and citizens' boxes, so fresh and clean you would imagine they were all blown out at once like soap bubbles. We'll be looking out for these elegant villas and grand terraces built of brick, covered in stucco and embellished with decorative ironwork. They'll be around leafy squares, along a tree-lined road, face a lawn or a crescent, which we'll see as we make our way towards the pump rooms. On the way, we cross one of 2 ornamental bridges that span a man-made lake, which is home to swans, mallards, great crested grebes, herons, coots and moorhens. You may even spot a kingfisher with its distinctive bright blue and orange plumage that will dart from its waterside perch to hunt for fish. Now you can see Cheltenham's most impressive pump room. Behind the colonnade of iconic columns is the main hall, which is used for public and private events. You may be lucky. If you're here and they're not preparing for an event, you may get the opportunity to step back in time and see the elegant concert hall and admire the domed ceiling. This is where you can gulp down a glass of medicinal waters, which are supposed to cure you of all manner of diseases. The foundation stone for this magnificent building was laid nearly 200 years ago in 1825, and the opening took place 5 years later in 1830. Both occasions saw 2 of the most splendid events in Cheltenham's history. In the beginning, the new spa seemed destined for success. Sadly, Joseph Pitt never saw his estate completed, and by the time he died in 1842, only a fraction of the planned houses had been built. There had been a national banking crisis. The building boom was over, and the fashion for inland spas had declined. He died owing vast amounts of money, and his estate had to be administered by the courts of chancery to pay off his creditors. So although Pittville Spa became a white elephant, Joseph Pitt has left us with a great legacy that's very popular today. The pump rooms host private and public events. You can enjoy concerts, exhibitions, guided and self-guided walks and tours. This aerial view shows just a small section of the estate, with the Cotswolds in the background and Cheltenham Racecourse, home of jump racing between the pump rooms and the hills. Cheltenham has a wonderful heritage and is surrounded by glorious countryside with a variety of places nearby for you to explore. So do come and visit us soon. I'm Anne Bartlett, a Blue Badge tour guide, and my website is www.touringexplore.com.